Okay, we are officially live. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, with a banner. So I'm Sandy.
And I am Chloe.
This is WordStitch.
It is. We're all discombobulated right now, obviously, because we're late and we were in the middle of a conversation about how I'm completely rewriting my life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah,
we never talked about anything that we were supposed to talk about.
No, and we have some things to talk about today, guys. I think this has to be my like social media, like Sandy sort of life is changing kind of debut too.
Yeah.
So
You already did that once today, so you may
yeah,
as
I
well do
did.
it twice.
Like, why not, right? So we've got stuff to talk about today. Spoiler alert: I'm pregnant, and life is changing for me.
Also, it's important to state she is quite pregnant.
Oh, you want to see it?
Sitting on this for a while.
I actually wait. Well, I'll take the damn banner down in a second. We'll do it at a break. But okay, so but I am working on uploading files today to Ingram Spark. So I'm doing self-publishing, like logistical stuff. Chloe, what are you working on today?
I am hopefully finishing that novelette. I've got like one scene and a chunk of scene. Actually, I guess I got like one big scene. I've got like a climax scene and then like the little bit of the scene that's right before it that I haven't finished yet, and then a wrap-up scene. So I might get it finished. I'll definitely finish it today. I don't know if I'll finish it here or not. If I do finish it today, though, I have to do that final edit on Hazel. I've been working on that too.
So you've got lots of work to do too. Everything in my, well, you know what? I think we should actually consider just like getting to it, because like I don't know, like my goals are all changing with my writing right now. We've got co-hosting stuff to talk about. Like there's a whole lot going on. So
yeah, we're going to start our sprints right now.
let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Great Prize writing a short story about pregnancy. Great Prize, I can give you so much drama, like so much.
Sandy, for you right now, Metal is holding Locke and Clara's baby, and it's not going well.
Metal is holding their baby.
Yeah, and he's having like bad feels, but like he can't have any kids because
I feel like he would just like grab it by the ankle and be like, "What does this do?"
There was also that moment of like, I don't know if I'm holding this thing right, but here we go.
Yeah. So okay, but we need a prompt. Let's do your, I don't know. Oh, my computer's all slow today. Your character has big news.
Perfect.
All right, here we go. All right, and if you're with us, hopefully you're getting some work done today, and we will see you in 10 minutes.
Good luck, everybody.
Apparently we're back, and I totally.
We are back.
Yeah. I think that was just me being spacey, by the way. That was not like pregnancy brain.
That's just regular brain.
Yeah, I see that there's some opinions about this on like whether or not you've liked pregnancy. Gosh.
I feel like I would hate it, but I hate kids. So I feel like since there's no like happy ending to it, like I doubt that I would like any of it.
Chloe's opinion on pregnancy. Pregnancy sounds terrible because
I feel like I wrote pregnant characters pretty good, right? Like you've read my pregnant characters, and they're pretty good about pregnancy. I can write it.
I think I've had a weird pregnancy. I don't think I'm probably all that normal. I'm old. I'm old.
You say that. So old. Yes, you are a geriatric pregnancy, but that line is very low.
I am. I'm totally a geriatric pregnancy. I'm 38, which doesn't sound like it should be geriatric, but it's been totally geriatric. It was IVF in a pandemic. It's high risk. There's issues. The baby's going to be in. So this is the most important thing, guys. So my baby has a very freak and rare and serious birth defect. It's a abdominal wall thing. And because of this, which we hope can be corrected after birth, we're optimistic. We think he's going to go on and live like a nice, healthy life. But I'm going to be in the NICU for like months with him, which is why we're talking about this today, because I'm actually in I'll be in my 3rd trimester as of next week. And as of 3rd trimester, that delivery could happen like anytime. And we're being told it's potentially going to be early. So Chloe and I are in the market for some co-hosts, because there is a possibility at any point over the next couple of months that I'll just be, I don't know, off in some hospital. I don't know what happens then. Like if there's an emergency thing, can you StreamYard from the NICU? I'm going to say probably not.
You might be able to do the no. I mean, who knows in the time of COVID as well. But you might have to be the talking icon.
Yeah.
I feel like you could probably get away with that, but is it worth it? Who knows?
Well, and just exactly how stressful I'd be. Am I always going to be able to find a little corner in the hospital where Devin says I shouldn't stream from the delivery room. Devin, I have good news from you. It's going to be a planned C-section. There's no way in hell I will be streaming from the delivery room. I will be drugged and hopefully. So there's this thing happening, but so I have a Google spreadsheet. Did you see that, Chloe? Did you even?
I did.
We're unorganized with this.
I did. I acknowledged it.
Maybe we could allow everybody to look at that. We would love to have people who would be. Oh, Rose says no cell phones allowed to be in NICU. Actually, Rose, this is very interesting. During COVID, things become a little different, right? So where you wouldn't previously have had video capabilities and such, we're not allowed to have visitors with the baby because of COVID. So if grandparents want to see the baby, it's got to be Zoom. So suddenly things are totally different. But I see that there's some
and you could also want to just walk outside for a little while.
Yeah.
This could end up being something where you want to do it to get away for a little while, but who knows until you get to that moment.
Yeah. And so we're anticipating this planned C-section around the week of November 30th, but I'm already having warning meetings where people are saying things to me like, this might happen at week 37. Okay. Great. So I have this document that I made. If you are interested, how about I like post this in the comments and you just feel free to sign up and we will send you an invite. And I've got it started from October, just like in case.
Do you have it in the description?
No, but I think I can probably do that for next time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the comments should I put it in the comments? I should put it in the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in the comments. So if you guys are interested in co-hosting, please feel free to sign up, like totally volunteer as tribute. And I will be there if I can. And if not, then it'll be you and Chloe, and you can like talk about me behind my back, and it'll be
We will. We will absolutely do that.
Yeah. This, by the way, totally changes my writing goals for the year. Like I was so ambitious way early on. Yeah. And now I'm like, I need to drop a romance pen name. I think I had to cancel an arc. I'll be lucky to like publish anything else for the rest of the year. It's all
I think that's kind of everyone right now, though. Like, we are all having, like, we are all like victim to COVID right now. And then I also feel like most of the people I know have had like also weird personal drama going on that has nothing to do with COVID or like only tangentially related to COVID. That is like ruining everything. So I don't think you're alone in that and like having to change all of your plans for the end of the year.
No, it's totally true. Here's a fear. So for those of you who have children, okay, so this is the biggest thing I'm worried about. People who have kids who I know say things to me like, oh, I'm so glad that you were able to get your book written, as if I've only written one book, like before you had kids. And you'll probably never be able to do that again.
But you have that friend who has triplets and like got her master's degree while dealing with triplets and still writes. So plenty of people here have said that they have kids. Maybe only one in here. I know Spence does. I was kind of half reading, but like also trying to get that scene written. So I didn't catch everything that was going on there. But certainly we know plenty of people in the AuthorTuber network who have kids and are still doing all of this stuff.
Yeah, like this is possible, right? Like people do some writing still. I would if my whole life becomes like zero writing whatsoever, then I'm gonna have Chloe's a very unhappy ending.
And the funny, like with that romance writers podcast that I listened to. So of course, like it's all women on that. They've had 2 guests who were men on it, and one was the host's husband, who is also her business manager. So, and then Damon Suede, it was the only actual man writer on it. So, but like, so of course, like most of them have kids, and it's really funny because some of them are like, yeah, I had kids and I had to quit writing for like 10 years. But then some of them are also like, I had kids and I decided to be a writer. Like, I hear it go both ways with that. So, I would not assume anything until you get to that point.
I think that's probably right. And by the way, you guys, I am also a November baby. And my husband is a December baby, and we were married in December, and like everything, our whole world happens in November and December.
Really crowded. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that, that's real crowded. Okay, you're gonna have a Thanksgiving baby probably.
Yeah, well, possibly. I mean, like, fingers crossed he's not born until after Thanksgiving. Like, if all goes well.
Oh, your due date is not until December.
It's December 6th. So he only ends up.
I thought it was a little bit earlier than that.
If things are going wrong, and we'd like for him to be maybe like a November 30th baby. That'd be fine. That'd be all good.
I'm an October baby, and like many early October babies, I know exactly the moment I was conceived, and it's disgusting.
You know what? I know so much about when my child was conceived that I have a picture of him at 5 days.
Yeah, your conception was a little different. My parents just banged on New Year's.
Okay, and with that, I feel like we should get back to work, and then we can. And thank
Do
you
that
to
writing thing. I guess I'm
comments
talking
that,
about
like, writers
that's gross.
can be moms and also write. Do I have a your character prompt? It's November for your character.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you guys in 20 minutes.
We are back.
Yes, we are.
Yay.
And CB, my funny story with that, CB says my mother was flat on her butt on bed rest for 7 months. My mother also went through that with my brother. They thought he was an ectopic I can't speak. An ectopic pregnancy. And it was the 70s before I guess before they were able to do, I don't really know the history of the technology, but he obviously wasn't an ectopic. Oh, I can't speak. An ectopic pregnancy because it exists. But she had to go on bed rest for 7 months. I'm really confused about that whole story, except it was 1973, and I guess that's just what 1973 was. But because of that, as I previously brushed upon, the only reason I exist was because my father got drunk on New Year's.
And I think we, as always, represent two sides of the spectrum with regards to an issue. I'm very excited about the pregnancy. It was definitely planned and wanted. It will be ridiculously spoiled. Ridiculously. It's not even going to be funny. He's going to be a white male privileged, I don't know, precious angel. I will raise to be a feminist from day one. I'm really glad that some of you are getting words written and pages revised. Good work.
What have you been doing, Sandy? Have you been getting you said you were uploading stuff, right?
Yeah, one of the things I did for this month, because I've been just so stressed about some of this, is I decided I needed to set like one work goal a day, and my job is just to finish it. So today's work goal was to provide a page count for one of my books to a cover designer and like upload these Ingram Spark files, and I finished it, so I'm happy with that. So yes, so I finished some stuff. What about you? Did you get your stuff done?
I'm working. I got that end of a scene done, and I'm working on this next scene, and this thing is going to be an extra scene that I didn't want because, as per usual, I cannot control my word count. So I'm like, this scene wasn't even supposed to exist. Like, this was supposed to be completely glossed over, but instead I wrote it out. And I don't know how many words I did because I'm using Papyrus for this, and it doesn't have that clean little tracker thing that Scrivener has, at least that I have found on it. And even like what I'm seeing on Papyrus so far, I don't like it. I'm only rating it in this to see how its converters work, because that was one of the nice features of it, is that it will convert to ebook and paperback. But I don't like it. It literally does not know whether you should be using than or then. Like, it puts the spell check thing on every single like instance of that word to tell you to check to make sure you're using the right word. And like, I'm sure I can turn that off, but like, it's nice to have. I don't know. I like having grammar check on. But like, that is one thing, like, you should be able to tell from like a sentence structure which one I'm supposed to use. And the fact that it doesn't means I don't think this program is very well written.
If you can't turn on your grammar and spell check saves me so many times, so many ways.
Yeah. And like, it's rare that Microsoft Word messes that up. I can't tell you the last time Microsoft Word told me I was using than when I should have used then, and it wasn't correct. So yeah, it's weird that it's not able to tell.
Okay. So we've got another thing that we should have really like covered ahead of time, right? But like, are we still on for our quilting thing?
Do we want to do it? I realize we keep postponing it, but do we want to do it next week and go ahead and put a hard schedule in for next week?
100% not available.
Okay, then we'll do it
23rd. Okay, so if you're with us, so we are stitch, but we haven't done any stitching in like a real long time. And now
We haven't. Not even personally. I made masks at one point, and that's all the sewing I think I've done this
I wasn't
entire
doing any
calendar
sewing,
year.
and then I started feeling like I needed to get like I needed that crocheted baby blanket done. I had to get it done, and crazy things have been happening in my fabric room since then. So yeah, so I have been getting some stuff done, but I have I have a jelly roll of adorable jungle prints that need to be turned into a quilt. It has to be done in September because I'm worried that as of October I might not have enough time. So yes, Devin, sewing sprints is kind of like what we're thinking. Something like that. And
we'll figure it out as we go. I have a fairly quiet sewing machine, so I think we're just going to be like testing and see what happens. We've never done any sort of crafting sprints before. Yeah, so we're just going to have like a quilt in.
But should we craft in, or should we like sew and then like take 10 minutes to word sprint between?
I don't know.
Oh, the possibilities. If you're with us, for brainstorming. So I have a quilt to make, and Chloe has many quilts probably always to make.
I believe I'm going to be making pajama pants that I bought the pattern and the fabric like 2 years ago because I was teaching my friend Chris how to sew, and then we never did it because that's what happens. I am going to be quitting my job soon. And if I do that, or when I do that, I'm going to need more pajama pants. So I figured that this is the perfect time to make pajama pants. Yeah.
I love this new great pride.
Get my crap together with flannel because flannel's a nightmare.
Flannel. I have to say, I have so much pajama pant material that I've purchased. I have at least 3, I think, bits of, like, like where you're like, oh, this fabric is perfect. I'm going to turn that into pajama pants. Then you buy it and you don't actually sew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
And Great Fry, I feel like Sandy and I are in the same boat, that what happened was we used to be really avid quilters and also writers, and then we became published authors, and suddenly all of that quilting time just like
I have felt behind.
I've got a quilt that I was supposed to make 10 years ago that I've got like some of the panels done, and I've never been able to do the like in between. Like it's a 3. I'm forgetting the term for it. It's one of the patterns that does like a weird shift in it. And I'm just blanking on the term right now. And I had it like separated into panels, and I just had to make strips in between the panels because he wanted a king size quilt, and that is insane to like make that kind of style in an actual king size. So all I needed to do, so I was going to do like frames on it, and I just had to make I was going to do like an ombre in between of just like diamonds. And I've never done it because that was right about the time that I started publishing.
So I started publishing, I don't know, like 6 months or something after I'd moved from like one state to another. Spence is moving right now. Man, do I get that. I had all these sewing projects, and they all got like folded up into boxes and then like tucked away. And I had a stained glass quilt that was sort of like inspired by your Ken quilt, which I pulled out, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
You made that style of quilt because it was the style of quilt I was making?
No, you didn't. But at the time, I didn't know it was fabric. I had this like crazy fabric, and I wanted to do something. And I think you might have said, "Oh, I'm doing this like ripple thing," and I thought, "Oh, I could do something like that." Okay, so I did something like that, but then like never finished the quilt. So I pulled it out recently. And decided that there was no way in hell it was ever going to become a quilt, because I recently hand quilted a thing machine quilted, like, but myself, like freestyle, that takes a lot of effort. So I decided it wasn't going to be a quilt. We get a right soon, and now it's a duvet cover, and it's beautiful. But that was all recently. So okay, let's be productive again.
Yes, let's go. We'll see you guys in 30 minutes.
Okay, we are back. So I got dinner prepped.
I had to YouTube what happens when you drop a bottle of champagne, and it turns out it is way less exciting than I thought it was going to be.
It just spills everywhere.
The first, I think, 2 times that they dropped it, it was like one of those, like, we just drop shit. Like, that is the entire brand of our YouTube channel. And I think it took them 3 attempts for it to even shatter. It turns out, like, if it falls on its butt the right way, it's totally fine. And if it falls on its neck, the cork keeps it from shattering as well. And when it did actually shatter, it was no more dramatic than a wine bottle. I expected more because they're pressurized, but I guess not. So that was disappointing, but I guess it's a good thing for the scene that this is happening in. Also, Nikki had a couple of questions up there. What's the best font to use while drafting? Somebody mentioned the Comic Sans hack, and then some other people mentioned what they use. I don't.
I like this hack.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones. If I'm editing or just reading a book, like if I'm in proofreading mode, then I'm not dyslexic, but I have to use the dyslexia font that like most e-readers have. And it just makes it a lot easier for me to see mistakes. Unfortunately, it also means it's easier for me to see mistakes with other authors, but that's okay. That's just who I am as a person. When I'm writing, though, I just and like doing like the big edits and not proofreading, I just use Calibri. That's just the font I use for everything. It's nothing special. I think it's a sans serif font.
Wait, tell us about dyslexia font.
I don't have my phone by me, but I'm sure it's a standard one. I know it's standard in Overdrive, which is what I use to read like library books. I believe it's also standard in Amazon or in Kindle. Like it should be a font option. But it's just the way that they do the font. It's weighted, so it's easier for dyslexic people to read it. So like letters that look the same, like P, Q, D, and B are all the same letter in a lot of fonts. They're just rotated or reversed, mirrored. In dyslexic font, they'll be shaped slightly differently, so it's easier to see. And normally it's just like a weighting on one side of it to make it easier for the brain to process it. And again, I'm not dyslexic, but it helps me read things. The only problem with it is it has a slight italices to it. So sometimes things look like they're italicized when they're not. But like when things are italicized, it's really obvious. I don't know. It's just like the one weird thing with it. So that's what I do. And then Nikki, for your question about where did we get our timer? So I don't use, I guess it's obvious, but I don't use YouTube timers because they're not as reliable. Because internet is internet. So I actually just went to my computers. I think it's just like the Google Play Store or the Microsoft Store or whatever it is. And I found it's just a timer app, Microsoft Store. It's just a timer app called Hourglass. And it does have a bunch of options to it, but I don't mess with the options so much. But it does have like a full screen for it, which works really well for this. It gets along well with StreamYard if it's in full screen. Yeah.
By the way, there are people who are actually getting work done here. So words written, pages revised. Obviously, you're getting stuff done, Chloe. So good work if you're here and you're getting some words done.
Yeah. Oh, CB said open dyslexic. It is. I know at least on Overdrive, it is absolutely open dyslexic that they use. Again, I don't recall what it's called in In Kindle, I feel like they are two different fonts, but that doesn't matter. Just if you go into your Kindle font options, you should have
Looks
one
like
that's
there's lots of
something
these
dyslexic.
types of fonts, which is kind of amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure there
So
are. Yeah.
that's really good. I've totally lost my train of thought. There was something else we were talking about before this.
That's okay. We were talking about our quilting. Oh, and it's a Bargello quilt that I was talking about. If you guys were like, what the hell does she mean by a Ripley quilt? It is a Bargello or Bargello.
Yeah, so here, let's put that in there. Bargello.
They're very pretty though. Like, even if you don't quilt, I recommend Googling it and just seeing like the cool things that people can do with little rectangles of fabric.
There's so much that can be done. So
right?
Yeah.
And Bargello, it's a really neat technique because you actually make, like, again, if you're looking at a picture of it right now, you can probably understand it better, but you make like a whole panel that's just straight lines. So you get like a jelly roll. If you are a quilter, you know what that is. You get like a jelly roll, which is individual strips of fabric. And you just sew them all together. And then you cut them into, like, if you follow a pattern, it'll give you like a width. So you cut it the long way. So you get these little blocks of the colors. And then you offset them, and that's what causes the ripple look in it.
I did this. I did this thing. I think mine doesn't look, I'm sure, nearly as good as. No, I changed my mind. Mine is not a Bargello. Mine is just.
Yours just is a pattern that ends up looking like a Bargello when it's done.
Oh, mine. I attempted to do something like that, and it just. I clearly am lazy compared to what other people are capable of doing online. Wow.
I should not have made my first Bargello quilt king size. I regret that decision. And I kind of feel like I should probably make a tapestry with it next time.
There are some like gorgeous things here. Mine now.
Yeah, it's like crazy. And it's so easy. Like, obviously you have to buy the pattern because there's no way you can fit. I've actually like read a book on how to make these patterns, and I was like, oh, you have lost your goddamn mind if you think I'm gonna make this pattern. But yeah, it's so easy to do this thing if you just like are patient with reading directions.
Yeah, mine. I think the way to put what I did is it ended up more like a ripple type thing.
Okay.
Is that a thing? Is a ripple quilt a thing?
I mean, I can get an idea of what you mean by a ripple quilt.
Oh, it didn't turn out like a ripple. I take that back. Yeah, I'm just wrong. I just got lazy and did what I needed to do to. Yeah. The thing that I want to do on our quilting day is like a really super easy pattern. It is not anything fancy.
I believe I have a pattern for pajama pants. It's a 1 hour pattern. It might be a 2 hour pattern, but yeah. And again, like, my biggest thing with that is that I've never been very good at dealing with flannel. So I'm actually going to read the directions.
Whoa.
Maybe get out the user manual for my sewing machine. I have a real fancy sewing machine that I could probably, I say really fancy. I just mean really fancy to me because my last sewing machine was from 1975. Yeah.
So the 1975 ones can be way complicated.
Yeah, but they're all like, they don't have like computers in them. And this one does. This one, I've got one now that, like, yeah, I've got actually 2 sleepy kitties. That's the butt of one, obviously. And then, yeah. She's just a really scrappy cat. She photographs really well. I got a really adorable one on my Twitter the other day of her eyeing up my Tots and Chicky Nuggies, but also she's actually just a really scrappy looking cat usually. But yeah, so like my new sewing machine, which, I mean, you've seen the sewing machine before. It's probably like 5 years old, but it's got the, like, you know, if it does the self-winding, and I don't actually need to use the foot pedal for it. And I've got it in that fancy table for all of the quilting that I once upon a time did. I had Ken make me a table for it.
Oh my gosh, I love that he made you a table. Like,
yeah, we IKEA'd that bitch. Oh my God. We just like went to IKEA and we were like, let's figure out how we can make an inset quilting table with shit from IKEA. And we did it, and it's great.
That's amazing. I had to buy mine from Walmart, and it is not inset. It is just a plain old sewing machine.
Yeah,
table.
no. You need to get an inset table if you want to quilt hard. I like doing the patterns and quilting. I'm so sorry, everybody who is a writer but not a sewer, who got like sucked into this conversation. But last couple of weeks we were really good about talking about writing. So yeah. So we're having this little break right now. But so I enjoy the sewing aspect of quilting, but my favorite part of quilting, which is also arguably the most difficult part, is the top quilting. Which, if you are not a quilter, that is all the stitch work that goes on top of the quilt to hold it together. So
that's
like
your favorite part? That part is hard.
It is extremely hard, but I love doing it. I love all of the crazy patterns. I do the free stitch style, which is arguably even worse. Hilariously, if I try to stitch in the ditch, it always looks terrible and I hate it. So I always do free stitching, and I love putting those patterns into my quilts. So I have to have an inset table because it's really not feasible doing that if your table's not an inset.
Yeah, I did that with like this huge quilt recently, and it was one of those, I think it's called crazy quilting, like where you don't have a pattern, you're just sort of like looping around loops that you create. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is hard.
Did you practice it first?
Yeah, like a couple pot holders. Then I decided
I've got a bunch of these things right here. So this probably will, like, if you don't know what I'm talking about like all of these black lines in it. I
love that you just had that. Like you just like grabbed that just right there.
It is my teapot. It's teapot mat, which was absolutely just made to like try out this pattern. You see that I've never finished the damn thing. Yeah. I'm really good at binding as well, but I never did the binding on this.
Binding is the time-consuming part. My quilt that I created,
time-consuming.
Yeah, right. Because like I don't know about you, but I'm obviously you can like machine quilt the first edge, right? And I cannot machine quilt the second edge of the binding. Like I have to hand sew that.
Oh no!
Yeah. I know.
I'm not like that at all. I took a class on how to do binding.
Oh, wow.
Like that was the one thing that I was like, I don't effing get this. And it's because it was never explained to me how to do it. So I was doing it completely wrong. I was taking bias tape and just like putting bias tape on the edge and like doing a single stitch on it, which is absolutely the totally wrong way. That's not even a little bit how you do binding. But I took that class and now I'm amazing at binding. CB is knitting. I can knit, but I choose not to because I can't deal with the sound of the knitting needles. So
you could crochet. Crochet doesn't have anything.
Oh no, I absolutely do crochet.
I can't really knit either, but I've tried knitting. I don't have the patience for knitting, but crocheting I love.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted that train of thought.
No, that was it. I was done, and then I saw CB's comment on purling, and yeah, every time I've tried to knit, I've gotten like 3 lines down and been like, I can't stand the feel of this or the sound of this. And I've tried all the different needles, so it's just not for me. But I'm pretty decent at crocheting. I haven't done it in quite a few years because quilting, I feel like I'm getting more done when I quilt because I can make an entire quilt in a weekend and I can only make like a scarf in a weekend. So
Yeah, yeah. The crocheting is much longer, right? You have to have this like immense amount of
Yeah.
patience with it.
Also why I don't cross stitch, because in a
Oh,
weekend I can get like that done in a weekend, and I'm like, screw all of this.
I don't cross stitch because there's
Oh.
no way that I would have anything to do with the cross stitch. Like I'd end up with what, like a bunch of wall paintings or something. I like to do stuff I'm going to use, you know? Like I just can't ever come up with a reason for a cross stitch. Um,
Really quickly, grape fry. We're pretty much out of time right now because we still have our last 10-minute sprint. But if you do happen to join us on Wednesday and remind me, I can talk a little bit about doing t-shirt quilts.
are we going to do this Wednesday? Let's do this Wednesday.
We are doing this Wednesday, right?
We're doing this Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wednesday.
we're doing this Wednesday at the same time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nikki is going to join us on October 12th.
Oh, awesome. Did you find
And
the
thank you, Spence, also for signing up for some of those shifts. I really appreciate it. As those of you have seen me in those like 12-second moments when Sandy's like letting the dog out, I go into blind panic if I'm by myself.
this is a lot. It's so much more fun when you have somebody, and
Yes.
like hopefully it'll be three of us for a really long time, but like I really appreciate anybody who wants to sign up to host, just because otherwise I think this is going to be a little harder to pull off generally. Like who wants to do this by themselves for hours? I say that knowing a lot of you do it by yourselves, and I'm very impressed with you.
Yeah, I'm real impressed. I don't know how you do it. I can't do it. Okay, so we do have our next sprint to do, which is our final sprint. But really quickly, we are going to be doing the quilt in this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So the exact same time slot, but on Wednesday. Yeah, so let's write for the next 10 minutes and then we'll see you guys out.
Okay, we're back.
Yes.
To those of you who are looking at signing up to co-host with us, that's always the same time on Monday. It's always 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. And sign up. We
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna have to start learning StreamYard as well. Remember that one time I was in charge of the StreamYard and it was a disaster? I gotta get back at it.
So not that hard.
It's not. I just get flustered really quickly. It's all me.
So I'll also set up the link next for the sewing thing. That'll be our next video. But that doesn't mean we won't be streaming again next week for words.
Yes. Yeah, this thing is permanent, and we'll see how things go with the sewing thing. Maybe it'll be like an every other week or something. We'll see how it goes.
That'd be good.
And obviously, like once baby comes, that's going to be on hiatus for a little while. But we'll see.
This is all like it could be that this is the only time in my week when I'm able to be like sane, right? Or it could be I have no sane time, and we're just all gonna have to find out. I spent the last few minutes working on this planner that I'm going to publish because You Go Girl is not sufficient for my needs. And so I feel like,
aww, I could not have predicted that.
I mean, it's been a good journal, but I feel like I need something better. And if I'm going to create something better for myself, then I freaking might as well publish it. Yeah. And who knows if that'll actually help with anything. We'll see.
But it'll be fun to find out. Also, it looks like CB's writing some horror there. We had people getting some words on that last sprint. Good job, guys.
Yeah, nice work.
I have mass chaos happening in my novel as a Thanksgiving is getting ruined by stupid dad bringing his pet hellhound to Thanksgiving with a bunch of angels.
If you need holiday books about demons, angels, candy, lemon bars, you should really read Chloe's stuff. It's really just delightful.
Thanks.
Just delightful. It's also like very steamy. So, you can get the best of both worlds in this whole thing.
I will by next week have them all up for beta reads. So we'll revisit this, or not beta reads, excuse me, ARC reads. So if anybody is interested in reading my demon series, it will be available for free in exchange for reviews next week.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. We're glad that you guys got some stuff done. We'll try to be more on time next time. We were like 5 minutes off today. I feel like that was my fault.
I had a baby. That's a really productive 244 words right there.
God, I hope that my baby experience only takes 244 words. It was born. She had
I unfortunately don't think that is in the cards for you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
There are some more sprints going on. Morgan Hazelwood is streaming right now. Thank you, Devin, for the heads up. And if you joined us, thank you so much. We appreciate the fun.
Just thank you, guys.
Yeah, so we will see you next week.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.